Witch of Jasmine, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a reading for Leo moons. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Here we go. So as always, as I'm shuffling out these cards, I invite you to take some deep breaths, to ground yourself, center yourself, get comfy. These cards are coming up nice and quick. They usually do around the time of the full moon, so apparently we still got that crazy full moon energy. I love it. There we go. Okay, that was very quick. Let's dive in. So for the Oracle card, we have Divination with Fire and Scorpio. Alright, and then for our tarot cards we have Page of Swords reversed, Ace of Swords reversed, King of Wands, Nine of Athames, Nature reversed, and Ten of Wands reversed. Ooh. Okay, interesting. So for those of you who are more familiar with the tarot cards, this right here is the Green Witch Tarot. It's based on the standard Rider-Waite Tarot deck. It's just that some of the names are a little different. So Nine of Athames is the equivalent of Nine of Swords, and Nature is the equivalent of the Devil. And then actually, I just that's a nice coincidence. I just posted shorts about Ten of Wands today. So if you're curious about this card, particularly drawn to it, or if you're curious about any of these cards, I have a bunch of little shorts up, which are just, little videos that really further explain each of these cards. So just want to throw that out there. So right off the bat, with this Divination card, it comes up when you need a reminder that you are, in fact, the master of your own will, right? I mean, obviously with life, there's a balance to be had. Part of it, yes, life does what life does, right? We're always getting into situations we did not ask for. They just sort of happen to us. We're surrounded by people who we cannot change, and they'll just do whatever they're going to do. But this card comes up as a reminder that, yes, while all of that is true, and it's something we all have to learn to accept, it's equally as true that we have power and agency over our lives, right? And it's important that we remember when we are in those difficult times, when we feel powerless or stuck, that it's also our responsibility to figure stuff out, right? To get ourselves out of that situation. So whatever situation we're talking about with this reading today, definitely keep that in mind. That now is very much a time when you need to do what is best for you and get yourself to where you want to be, regardless of your situation. To an extent, of course. But it is also a symbol, I should say too. It's also a sign that now is it comes up at times when it is a particularly good time to, here, I'll read you what it says in the book, because they put it in the best way. It says, present energies are strong deep within you to help change your destiny and meet challenges powerfully. So, Page of Swords and Ace of Swords, they're actually very similar cards. They have similar meanings, but they do have two different nuances to them. So we'll just still take this step by step. With Page of Swords, I usually describe it like this. If you can imagine giving a sword to a young child, right? Chances are they're going to take that sword and kind of go crazy with it, right? Start swinging around and get really excited and want to play with it. So as the adult, right, it's important to say, hey, wait, slow down. I know you're excited. I know you want to do all of these great things, but you're about to hurt yourself or someone else, right? You have to remember to take that excitement and not lose the excitement, of course, but also consciously slow down and say, okay, let's figure out how to do this methodically. Let's actually learn how to do this, right? Before we start going crazy with it. So the lesson that Page of Swords teaches us is, if you have an end goal in mind, it's great. It's almost necessary, right? To be excited about it and to be very passionate about it. But it's very, very, very important to make sure that you have a solid plan going forward. You're not setting any unrealistic goals, and you're not, enjoying the short term when that will just end up hurting you in the long term. You want to make sure you're making methodical, smart decisions all the way through. So, all that to say, having Page of Swords reversed here is a sign that whatever it is you are doing, are working towards, it's important for you to take a step back and really think these things through. Specifically, what is the path to that? What does that really look like? What's the best way I can get down there, right? And the thing is, we have this Nine of Athames down here, which is the card of fear and anxiety. Straight up, right? So I think however it is you're acting here, I am inclined to say that it's not as much out of just pure excitement. I think it might more so be stemming from fear. I think you're just trying to rush to that end goal, not necessarily out of joyful excitement, but maybe just out of fear of, what happens if I don't reach that, right? Just to throw some examples out there, if you're trying to maybe you're unemployed and you're trying to find a new job, right? It's okay, well, I gotta, be applying everywhere. I gotta be doing this and that and this and that and this and that because I need a job right now. And if I don't get one in the next week, I'm gonna be screwed financially. You know what I mean? Or, same thing with finding a partner, a new relationship, right? Maybe it's okay, the clock is ticking. I need to get married. So, let me hop on Tinder. Let me do this and that and go on all these dates because I need to find someone, when even though in the short term that might make more, feel like, and we'll get into that more in a minute, it might feel like the solution or the answer, but in that way, by just rushing these things, it could end up more so hurting you in the long run, right? You might find someone who is not a good match, but you ended up with because you were scared of being single and alone. Or, you took a job that seemed really good at first because you really needed a job right now, but give it a month or two and you'll see like, oh, I guess I kind of overlooked that. Oh, I didn't realize that's how this worked. And so in the end, doesn't really work out, right? So with this Ace of Swords reversed, that's about not having clarity, not seeing things clearly. And again, like I was kind of alluding to, with the Nature card, again, if you're familiar with tarot, it is the equivalent of the Devil card, but I think in this deck, it's really interesting. It has this specific nuance to it. And I want to be careful how I say this because it's a little complex and hard to explain, but I want to make sure I say it correctly. Because it's about going against your own nature, what, your own instinct, what you want to do right now in this moment. Because at first that feels a little weird to say, to not do that, but think of it more so as an instant gratification kind of thing. Where, well, right now in this moment, this feels like the answer. Right now in this moment, this feels like the best thing to do. But in the long run, might not be, right? So I say all of that just to really emphasize here that I think your reaction to this fear and this thing that you want to do, because it's just your gut instinct. It's just what makes sense to you right now in this moment. This reading is largely telling you, I really don't want to come off the wrong way, because it's not about like not listening to your intuition or not trusting yourself. It's not necessarily that. It's more so just having that awareness of like, I usually call it the human part of me. Like I'm thinking of a breakup where, logically I know that, it was bad. It's good that it's over. This was not the person for me. But the human part of me, feels really sad about it and misses them and, all that stuff. That's more so what I'm talking about. Because it's not bad. It's just normal. It's how most people would react, but that doesn't mean it's the right way to react. You know what I'm saying? I really hope I'm not over-explaining this. It's just, this is one of those readings where I feel like it's a kind of a complicated and tricky thing to explain. So I'm really trying to explain it as best as I can. All of this being said, Halen came over to say hi. That's her little nose right there. All that being said, this here, like I said, we have the Ten of Wands. That is about being overburdened. That is, as clear as it gets. The clearest sign you can possibly get that you are overburdened. And things need to be let go. Right? We have this person here who's holding these... Hold on, Halen. Holding these 10 giant wands on their back, and they're leaning over. They can barely get up the mountain. And we have it reversed. So you are overburdened. It's too much. This is not, you do not need to be taking on all of this, right? I'm assuming from all of this, it's like that. Because you're really trying to get to that end goal, because you're trying to get out of this situation, because you're trying to prevent something from happening, you're doing a lot, right? And I don't know if I really emphasized that, but with swords, swords is very quick, bold, fast energy, especially when we have Ace of Swords and Page of Swords, and especially when those are reversed. It's a lot of energy, right? So having all of that, I would expect to have 10 of Wands reversed coming up. It's too much. It's more than you need to be taking on, for sure. So, all that being said, what is our solution here? That is King of Wands energy. It's actually really nice to see him here. Which actually, as I say that too, I mean, he absolutely embodies this divination card here, right? Like I mentioned in the beginning about how important it is for us to, like, you know, understand that life will be life and people will be people, but we still need to make sure that we take control of the things we can take control of in a healthy way, and ultimately at some point just do what's best for us, right? Of course, in a very balanced way. So let's take a look at our King of Wands. See, he's got this big map here. I think this card is so cute because it's like he's, sorry, there's like cat hair everywhere. It's like he's like looking at this kitty and being like, okay, kitty, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this. And the cat's like, oh, yep, got it, sounds good. But he is all about making a plan for how we're gonna do this, what needs to be done, and then following through with it. Looking at every aspect of this situation and saying what is helpful, what is not, what's holding us back, and being very objective and being very honest. I mean, I'm seeing here he is particularly looking down at this situation. So I think specifically with this situation, what he's suggesting you do is take an honest look at this situation and say, okay, take out the emotion, take out the complication, take out all of that. What can stay? What needs to go? And then once you figure that out, follow through. And yeah, I mean, these guys, I really feel like that they are acting, aka you, but they are acting the way that they're acting because they're both just trying to fight off this, right? They're trying to fight off the fear and anxiety, and they're trying to, you know, fight off those temporary, like, well, how do I feel right now? What is it that I want right now? Okay, perfect. Let's just, you know, I'm thinking of the word coping mechanism, right? Instant gratification, coping mechanism, that type of thing. But I mean, that's some risky energy there, you know? That's a risky way to go with it. Again, if not now, certainly later you could end up seeing the repercussions of it. So, okay, I'm really trying to knock it into over-explaining territory, and I really don't want this to, like, feel like it's more complicated than it is. I think I'm just going to leave it there. However, if you have any questions or if you'd like any part of this clarified, please let me know. You can leave a comment or you can just reach out to me, whichever you prefer. The best place to reach out to me is on my TikTok at The Witch of Jasmine. I do also have a very small little Instagram account because I really don't like Instagram, but I wanted to make it just in case that's the most accessible place for you. Feel free to reach out to me on there. Leo Moons, I'm wishing you lots and lots of luck with this. This does not look easy, but I highly recommend consider this, maybe. Recognize that you do have more power over the situation than you think, and it's really time for you to access that. And at the very least, you need to let go of some of this burden. Again, it does not get as clear as 10 of Wands reversed that there are some things you need to let go of as soon as possible. You've got too much. It's too much. It's only going to hurt you more in the long run. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!